The mysterious arrival. It was a quiet evening in the small town of Maplebrook. The streets were calm, and the sound of crickets chirping filled the air. People went about their business, unaware that something extraordinary was about to happen. Among the townspeople, two young adults, Maya and Alex, were going about their usual lives, completely unaware of the strange event that would change everything. Maya was a librarian, working late to finish her tasks for the day. Her fingers moved quickly over the books as she arranged them on the shelves. She had always been fascinated by stories of the stars and space. As a child, she dreamt of traveling to distant galaxies, meeting strange creatures, and discovering new worlds. But, like most people, she had grown up and set those dreams aside, focusing on her everyday life. Alex, on the other hand, was a mechanic who worked at a local garage. He was practical, down-to-earth, and focused on fixing engines and machines. He loved working with his hands and solving mechanical problems. But deep down, Alex shared a quiet curiosity about the universe, the kind that could never be fully explained. He often spent his nights lying on his roof, staring up at the stars, wondering if there was something more out there. That evening, as Maya closed the library for the night, she stepped outside to catch some fresh air. The night sky was clear, and the stars shone brightly, just like they always did. But tonight was different. There was a strange, flickering light far off in the distance, near the edge of the forest that bordered the town. Maya squinted her eyes, trying to make sense of what she was seeing. The light seemed to pulse, moving in an odd pattern, almost as if it were alive. She felt a strange sensation crawl up her spine, an unexplainable feeling that something was not right. Her curiosity got the better of her, and she decided to investigate. She grabbed her jacket and walked toward the forest, her footsteps light and quick on the gravel path. She had no idea what she was looking for, but her instincts told her that she needed to find out more. The closer she got to the forest, the more intense the light became. It wasn't like anything she had ever seen before. It wasn't a plane, nor was it a helicopter. It was something else, something otherworldly. Meanwhile, Alex was finishing up at the garage. He wiped his hands on a rag and stepped outside to stretch his legs. As he walked toward his car, he noticed the same strange light in the sky. It caught his attention immediately. He had always been interested in the unknown, but this was something else entirely. The light seemed to be moving closer to the town, and he felt a sudden urge to see it for himself. He got into his car and drove toward the forest. The light grew brighter with each passing second, until it was impossible to ignore. He parked his car at the edge of the woods and got out. The air was still, and the only sound was the crunching of the leaves beneath his boots as he walked toward the source of the light. Maya and Alex, though unaware of each other's presence, were both drawn to the same mysterious light. They made their way deeper into the forest, their hearts racing with both excitement and fear. Neither of them knew what to expect, but both felt a sense of destiny, as if they were meant to be here at this exact moment. Finally, they reached a clearing, where the light was coming from. In the center of the clearing was something that neither of them could have imagined. It was a large, glowing object, hovering just above the ground. It emitted a soft hum, almost like a low-pitched song. The object was smooth and metallic, with intricate patterns running across its surface. It was unlike anything either of them had ever seen. Before they could move closer, the ground beneath their feet began to tremble. A powerful wind rushed through the trees, causing the leaves to swirl around them. The object seemed to respond to the disturbance, glowing brighter and brighter until it almost blinded them. Then, in an instant, everything stopped. The wind died down, the light softened, and the trembling ceased. But the object remained. Maya and Alex stood frozen in place, staring at the object in awe. Neither of them could find the words to describe what they were feeling. Was this a dream? Or was this something real? Something far beyond their understanding? As they looked at each other, a strange thought crossed both of their minds. They were no longer alone. The air felt heavier now, filled with a sense of anticipation. They had come to this moment by chance or, perhaps by fate. Neither Maya nor Alex knew it yet, but their lives were about to change in ways they could never have imagined. The object in front of them was not just a mysterious artifact from the stars. It was the beginning of something much bigger, something that would bring them face to face with an alien race whose survival now depended on them. The light dimmed one last time, and then, without any warning, the object vanished, leaving behind only the silent forest and two humans, forever changed. The aliens need the next morning. Maya and Alex awoke to the normal sounds of the world. The birds were singing, the sun was shining brightly, and the breeze felt just as it always did. But the events of last night haunted their thoughts. Both of them tried to convince themselves that they had imagined it, that the glowing object was just a figment of their imagination or a trick of the light. But deep down, neither of them could deny what had happened. Maya sat at her kitchen table, sipping a cup of coffee, but her mind wasn't on the hot drink. Her thoughts kept drifting back to the mysterious object in the woods. She wondered what it was, who or what had sent it, and why she and Alex had been drawn to it. The more she thought about it, the more questions popped into her mind. She hadn't told anyone about what she'd seen. Who would believe her? She had barely believed it herself. But Alex was different. She knew he would understand, or at least try to. Meanwhile, Alex was in his garage, wiping the oil off his hands. His mind was clouded with the same thoughts. The object from last night kept appearing in his thoughts like an unshakable memory. He had never seen anything so extraordinary, so real. He couldn't get rid of the feeling that their lives had crossed some invisible line. And now there was no going back. Around noon, Maya decided to call Alex. The thought of keeping this secret from him felt unbearable. They needed to talk. She dialed his number, hoping he was home. Hello. Alex's voice was low, and she could hear the strain of curiosity in it. Alex, it's Maya. We need to talk about last night, she said, her voice trembling with excitement and nervousness. I was just thinking about that, Alex replied. What do you think it was? Some kind of spaceship, or ... I don't know, but it didn't feel like anything we've ever seen before. It was alive, somehow, Maya said. And I don't think it was a coincidence that we were both there. Was thinking the same thing, Alex agreed. I feel like something's calling to us, or like we've been chosen for something. Maya felt a strange chill at his words. She hadn't wanted to say it out loud, but it felt true. There was something in the air that night, something pulling them toward the woods. It wasn't random, it was purposeful. After a long silence, Alex spoke again. I think we should go back. Maya hesitated. Back to the forest. But what if it's dangerous? What if we don't understand what we're dealing with? We'll figure it out, Alex said, his voice determined. We can't just ignore it, Maya. Something bigger than us is happening, and we need to know what it is. Maya took a deep breath. She didn't want to admit it, but she knew he was right. They had seen something, and that something wasn't going to just disappear. It had changed their lives, and it wasn't going to let them forget. "Okay," she said. "Let's go back." A few hours later, they met in the town square. The air felt thick with anticipation as they drove back toward the forest. The sky was clear, the trees whispering with the breeze, but this time there was a sense of foreboding in the air. As if the world was holding its breath, they reached the edge of the forest and parked their cars. As they walked toward the clearing where the object had appeared, Maya couldn't shake the feeling that something was watching them. The hairs on the back of her neck stood on end. She looked at Alex, and he seemed to feel it too. They were not alone. They arrived at the clearing, but this time the object was not there. Instead, a strange silence filled the air. The trees seemed to stretch even further, their shadows growing darker. Everything around them felt still, frozen in time. Just as they were about to turn back, a soft hum echoed through the clearing. It was the same sound they had heard the night before. The light returned, glowing from somewhere deep within the forest. Suddenly, a figure appeared in front of them, emerging from the shadows. It was tall and slender, with smooth green skin and large, bright eyes that shimmered with intelligence. The being's presence felt both calming and powerful, as if it held the weight of an entire civilization in its gaze. "I have waited for you," the alien said, its voice soft, yet filled with an otherworldly authority. "You are the ones I have chosen." Maya and Alex stood frozen, staring at the alien. Their hearts raced, but there was no fear. Instead, they felt a deep sense of purpose rising within them, a knowledge that they were meant to be here, at this moment, with this being. The alien continued, "I am Zorath, and my people are on the brink of extinction. You two are the key to our survival. But to save us, you must help us complete a mission that is far beyond your understanding. Will you help us?" Maya and Alex exchanged a glance. They had no idea what this alien was asking, or what it would mean for their future. But something deep inside them told them that there was no turning back now. They had been chosen for something important. Without speaking, they both nodded. The alien's face softened, and it gave a small, almost imperceptible smile. "Then come," Zorath said. "The fate of my people, and yours, is now in your hands." The key to rebirth. Maya and Alex stood in stunned silence as Zorath, the alien, gazed at them with those brilliant, luminous eyes. The air around them seemed to hum with energy, as if the very atmosphere was vibrating with the weight of what was being asked of them. They had only just met this strange being, yet here they were, standing on the precipice of a decision that would change everything. Zorath took a step forward, its slender frame moving gracefully, almost as if it were floating. "You must understand, I did not bring you here by accident," Zorath said, its voice calm yet filled with urgency. "There is a prophecy, an ancient vision passed down through generations of my people. It speaks of two beings, not of our world, who will arrive when our species is on the brink of destruction. You and your kind are the ones spoken of in that prophecy. You hold the key to our survival." Maya felt a shiver run down her spine. She had always loved stories of destiny and fate, but this was something far beyond her wildest imagination. Could they really be the ones who could save an entire alien race? "What do you mean, key?" Alex asked, his voice tinged with disbelief, but also curiosity. "How could we possibly help? We're just ordinary people. We don't know anything about saving a whole species." Zorath tilted its head slightly, as if considering Alex's words carefully. "You are not ordinary," it replied softly. You are the ones who have been chosen, whether you understand it or not. The prophecy speaks of two individuals who will unite with us in a sacred ceremony known as the Rebirth. Through this ritual, you will become connected to our very essence, our life force. Only then will you be able to help us restore balance and prevent the extinction of our kind. Maya's heart raced as she processed the alien's words. A sacred ritual, becoming connected to an alien race's life force. It all seemed so impossible, yet the sense of destiny in the air made it feel real. She glanced at Alex, who, though still skeptical, seemed to be just as intrigued by the strange turn of events. So, what do we have to do? Maya asked, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside her. She could feel the weight of the decision already pressing on her shoulders. Zoroth's eyes softened. We will take you to our world. There, you will undergo the rebirth ceremony. It is not something you can prepare for, but it will open your minds and allow you to understand our true purpose. Only through this connection will you be able to help us defeat the enemy that threatens us. Enemy, Alex repeated. You haven't mentioned this enemy before. Who or what are we up against? Zoroth's expression darkened slightly, the usual calm demeanor shifting to something more serious. The threat is not something you can see easily, but it has been growing for generations. It is an ancient force, one that seeks to consume all life in the universe. It is known as the Void. It is a darkness that spreads, taking everything in its path. Maya felt a chill creep up her spine, a darkness that devoured everything. That sounded like something from a nightmare, not reality. But Zoroth's solemn tone made her realize that this was no fantasy. This was real, and it was happening now. The Void has already destroyed countless worlds, leaving nothing but emptiness behind. We have fought it for as long as we can, but without the rebirth, we will be unable to stop it. That is where you come in. Maya and Alex stood in silence for a long moment, processing the gravity of Zoroth's words. They were not just witnesses to an alien culture, they were now part of something much bigger, something that spanned across the stars and threatened to consume all life. The fear and uncertainty grew in their hearts, but so did something else. A flicker of hope. What happens if we don't do this? Alex asked, his voice steady, though the uncertainty still lingered. What will happen to you and your people? Zoroth's expression remained calm, but there was an edge of sadness in its eyes. If we do not succeed, my people will perish. And soon after, the Void will come for your world, for Earth. It is inevitable. The words hung in the air like a heavy fog. Maya's mind raced. How could they possibly help? They were just two humans, and Zoroth, though kind, was still an alien being, so different from anything they had ever known. But despite the overwhelming fear and uncertainty, there was a strange pull deep inside them both. They couldn't ignore it. They had been chosen for a reason, even if they didn't fully understand it yet. We'll do it, Maya said, her voice firm. She turned to Alex, who met her gaze with a nod. We have to. We don't have a choice. Alex hesitated, but only for a moment. You're right. We can't just walk away from this. Let's do it. Zoroth smiled, a faint, almost imperceptible curve of its lips. You have made the right choice. Follow me, and I will take you to where the rebirth will take place. The alien led them deeper into the forest, past trees that seemed to hum with life and light. Maya and Alex followed, knowing that whatever lay ahead, their lives would never be the same. They had agreed to help, and now there was no turning back. They reached a small clearing, where a strange energy pulsed from the ground. In the center, Of the clearing stood a large, stone-like structure, glowing softly with an ethereal light. Zoroth stopped in front of it, turning to face them. "This is where the rebirth will happen," it said. "Here, you will become one with us. The ceremony will begin shortly." Maya and Alex exchanged one last look, a mixture of fear and excitement filling their hearts. They had made their decision, and now it was time to face whatever was to come. Hidden truths, the clearing was silent, save for the faint hum of energy emanating from the glowing stone structure in the center. Maya and Alex stood before it, feeling a strange sense of awe and unease. Zoroth stood beside them, its glowing eyes never leaving their faces, as though waiting for them to understand something unspoken. Maya felt a wave of uncertainty wash over her. What exactly had they gotten themselves into? The whole concept of becoming one with an alien species life. Force was hard to grasp, let alone accept. Yet, the pull, the sense of purpose, was undeniable. She had to push her fear aside, or it would consume her. "I know you have many questions," Zoroth said, its voice soft but heavy with meaning. "But the truth is not something we can explain. With words, you must experience it for yourselves. Only then will you understand the full extent of what we face." Alex shifted uneasily. "I still don't get it. Why us? Why two humans? And what's this void you're talking about? It doesn't make sense." Zoroth paused for a moment, as if considering the best way to explain. "You see," it began, "the void is not simply an enemy or a force. It is an ancient, sentient being, a consciousness that exists beyond time and space, a darkness that devours everything in its path. It has destroyed countless worlds, wiping out entire civilizations before they could ever reach their full potential." Maya shuddered. The idea of something so vast, so destructive, was terrifying. But she pressed on, her curiosity outweighing her fear and the prophecy. "Why does it say we are the ones who can stop it?" Zoroth's expression shifted slightly, as if it were preparing to reveal something deeply hidden. "That is the part of the truth that has been lost to time. My people have been fighting the void for eons, but every attempt to defeat it has failed. The prophecy was written long ago by a being who saw a vision of the future. It spoke of two humans who would possess the strength, the connection, and the courage to stop the void, not by defeating it in battle, but by healing the rift it created." Maya frowned. "Healing? But how can we heal something so ... monstrous? We're just ... ordinary people." Zoroth looked at her, its gaze intense. "You are not ordinary. You have something that my people do not, a bond to your world, a connection to the very essence of life itself. That is what the void cannot comprehend, and that is why you are the key. Through the rebirth ceremony, you will unlock a power that exists within you, a power you never knew you had." Alex, still grappling with the information, stepped closer. "So, we're supposed to fight this thing by healing it. How does that even work?" Zoroth nodded slowly. "It will not be easy. The void feeds on chaos, destruction, and fear. It is a force that grows stronger the more it is resisted. But you, Maya and Alex, have the ability to connect to the very fabric of life, the balance that exists in every living thing. By uniting with us, you will learn to tap into that connection, to heal the wound that the void created long ago." "But that still doesn't explain why us," Maya pressed. "Why are we the ones chosen? What makes us different from anyone else?" Zoroth's eyes glowed brighter, the light intensifying. "The truth, Maya, is that you were never meant to be chosen. But when the void began its conquest, the balance of the universe began to shift. A disturbance occurred, one that echoed across time and space. That disturbance led to your world, Earth. It was not by chance that you were drawn. To us, it was fate. Maya felt a wave of disbelief crash over her. This was too much. How could they be part of a prophecy that spanned across galaxies and eons? They were just two ordinary people from a small town. How could they possibly understand the weight of what they were being asked to do? Seeing her struggle, Zorath continued, I understand that this is hard to believe, but the path you are on now will reveal more truths than you can imagine. It is not a matter of power or strength, but of understanding and empathy. You will see the universe in a way no one has ever seen before. Alex, who had been quiet until now, looked at Zorath. So, what exactly happens when we go through this rebirth ceremony? Zorath's expression softened, and it motioned toward the glowing stone. When you are ready, the ceremony will begin. The stone will connect you to the energy of my people. Your consciousness will merge with ours, allowing you to understand our history, our culture, and the depth of our struggle against the void. You will learn how to use your connection to the living force of your world, to combat the darkness that threatens us all. Maya and Alex exchanged a long, uncertain glance. Neither of them felt truly prepared for what was about to happen. How could they be? But there was no turning back now. The choice had been made, and their destinies were intertwined with the survival of an entire alien species. Are you sure we can do this? Maya asked, her voice a whisper filled with doubt. Zorath nodded, a flicker of reassurance in its eyes. You already have everything you need. The rebirth will unlock it. Without another word, Zorath stepped forward, and the stone at the center of the clearing began to glow even brighter. A beam of light shot up into the sky, and the air around them seemed to hum with an energy unlike anything they had ever felt. Maya and Alex stood frozen for a moment, staring at the beam in awe. The time had come. They had no idea what awaited them, but the fate of their world and the alien race that had trusted them was now in their hands. The rebirth trial. The air crackled with energy as Maya and Alex stepped closer to the glowing stone at the center of the clearing. The beam of light that shot up into the sky seemed to pulse with a life of its own, filling the space with a powerful presence. Despite the growing tension in their hearts, neither of them could turn away. This was it, the moment they had unknowingly been preparing for their whole lives. Zorath stood just behind them, its alien eyes fixed on them with both trust and expectation. Are you ready? It asked, its voice soft, but carrying the weight of the universe. In its tone, Maya looked at Alex, their faces mirroring the same mix of fear and determination. She had never felt so small, yet so connected to something so much larger than herself. It was as if the universe had chosen them for this very moment, and now there was no way back. Alex nodded, ready as will ever be. With a deep breath, Maya reached out toward the stone. As her fingers brushed against its smooth surface, a surge of energy shot through her body, almost like an electric current. Her vision blurred for a split second, and when it cleared, she found herself standing in a completely different place. The clearing had vanished. Instead, they were in the heart of a vast, ethereal landscape that stretched out endlessly before them. The sky was an otherworldly shade of purple, and the ground beneath their feet was soft and glowing, as if it were alive. Everywhere Maya looked, there was light that seemed to hum with life, filling the air with an overwhelming sense of peace. Where are we? Maya whispered, her voice shaking with awe. This is the realm of the rebirth. voice echoed around them, though it didn't seem to come from any particular direction. This is where your consciousness will merge with ours, and you will begin to understand what must be done. Alex, still trying to process everything, spoke up. What do we have to do now? Just ... stand here. Zorath appeared before them, standing with a calm certainty. You must face the trial. It is not a physical test, but a trial of your spirit. To save my people and yours, you must prove that you understand the power of connection, empathy, and the ability to heal. Maya felt a cold shiver run down her spine. A trial. She wasn't sure what that meant, but she could feel the weight of it bearing down on her. What do we have to do? She asked again, her voice firm, despite the fear creeping into her chest. You will face an illusion, Zorath explained. A vision of your deepest fears, your worst mistakes, your darkest secrets. You must confront these parts of yourselves, accept them, and then release them. Only by doing so will you be able to connect with the true energy of life. Only then will you have the strength to help us. Maya's heart skipped a beat. An illusion, her deepest fears. What could be worse than facing her own doubts, her own insecurities? She had always been afraid of failure, afraid of never being good enough, but now it seemed that fear was about to be laid bare. Alex stepped forward, looking both determined and uneasy. We'll face whatever it is, together. Zorath nodded solemnly, its gaze filled with an understanding that Maya couldn't quite grasp. The trial begins now. As the words left Zorath's lips, the landscape around them began to shift. The glowing ground flickered, and the purple sky darkened, becoming a swirling mass of storm clouds. Maya blinked, and before she knew it, she was standing in a completely different place. This time, it was not an alien world, but something all too familiar. She was back in her childhood home, standing in front of her parents. They looked at her with disappointment in their eyes, their faces twisted in judgment. You were never good enough, her father's voice echoed. Why can't you be more like your sister? Maya's heart clenched painfully as the weight of her past overwhelmed her. Her father's words, spoken so many years ago, felt as sharp as ever. She had always struggled to live up to his expectations, feeling like she was constantly failing, never measuring up. Her mother's voice joined in, full of sadness. You'll never make anything of yourself, Maya. You're wasting your time with these dreams. Tears welled up in Maya's eyes. The pain of those words, the rejection, the pressure came rushing back, threatening to drown her. She had always felt like a disappointment. But in this moment, standing before her parents' judgmental eyes, she felt smaller than ever. Suddenly, she heard Alex's voice, soft but steady. Maya, don't listen to them. You are enough. You have always been enough. She turned to look at him, but before she could say anything, the illusion around her shifted again. Now, she was standing alone in a vast, empty desert, with nothing but sand stretching as far as the eye could see. The wind howled, but there was no one around. She was utterly alone. A voice whispered in the distance, "You will always be alone. No one will ever truly understand you." Maya clutched her chest, her breath coming in shallow gasps. This was her greatest fear, being alone, completely misunderstood, never finding her place in the world. She had always felt like an outsider, as if she didn't belong. The loneliness threatened to swallow her whole, but just as the darkness began to close in on her, she heard Alex again, his voice cutting through the silence. "Maya, you're not alone. You have me, and you have the strength to overcome this." With his words, the darkness began to fade. The desert dissolved into light, and the warmth of connection spread through her chest. She was not alone. She had always had the power to overcome her fears, to heal from her past. Maya closed her eyes, taking a deep breath. She had faced her deepest fears, her insecurities, and her loneliness, and she had let them go. She was ready. When she opened her eyes, the world around her was once again calm, bathed in a peaceful light. Alex was standing beside her, looking at her with understanding and support. Zorath stood in front of them, its glowing eyes soft. You have passed the first part of the trial. Now you are ready. You understand the power of connection and healing. Maya and Alex exchanged a glance, both feeling the weight of what they had just gone through. The trial was far from over, but they had taken the first step, and together they knew they could face whatever came next. The final decision, the air around Maya and Alex hummed with an energy unlike anything they had ever felt. The trial had taken them to the depths of their souls, forcing them to confront their worst fears, their insecurities, and the doubts they had carried for years. But now, in this moment, there was a profound sense of peace between them. They had passed the first part of the Rebirth trial, and the knowledge they had gained made them feel stronger, more connected than ever before. However, their journey was far from over. Zoroth stood before them, its tall, slender figure glowing softly in the ever-present light of the alien realm. There was a serious expression on its face, but there was also a flicker of approval in its eyes. "You have shown strength," Zoroth said, its voice calm and measured, "but the true test is still ahead. Now you must decide how far you are willing to go." Maya's heart began to race again. What did Zoroth mean by this? They had already faced their fears. What more could be asked of them? "I don't understand," Alex said, his voice tinged with confusion. "What else is there? We've faced our trials. We've proven we can handle the pressure. What's left?" Zoroth's gaze softened. "What you have faced so far was only the beginning. The rebirth connects you to the essence of my people, but the true power lies in your choice. You must decide how far you are willing to go to protect not just your world, but mine. This choice will determine the future of all life." Maya swallowed hard. The gravity of the situation began to sink in. They weren't just saving an alien race, they were saving the entire universe from the void, a force that threatened to erase everything. But what was the choice? What were they about to face? Zoroth took a step closer, its eyes glowing with ancient wisdom. "The void is relentless. It feeds on chaos, fear, and destruction. To truly defeat it, you must use the connection you formed with us. You will become a bridge linking the very energy of your world with the life force of mine. But this power is not something to wield lightly. It will take everything you have." Maya felt a chill run down her spine. She could feel the weight of Zoroth's words pressing on her shoulders, and she realized that what they were about to do would change everything. The choice was theirs to make, but it wasn't a decision they could take lightly. "If we do this," Maya asked, her voice barely above a whisper, "what happens to us? Will we still be us?" Zoroth paused for a long moment, considering her question carefully. "Once you become connected to the life force, you will be changed. You will gain immense power, but you will also bear the responsibility of that power. You will see the universe in ways you cannot yet comprehend. Your connection will make you part of something greater than yourselves. The question is not whether you will survive, but whether you are willing to sacrifice who you are to protect. All that is." Alex's eyes narrowed as he processed Zoroth's words. "So, We have to make a choice. We either give up who we are and take this power, or we walk away, knowing the void will come for everything. Zorath nodded gravely. That is the choice you must make. The rebirth will give you the power to stop the void, but it will not be without cost. If you choose this path, you will become the key to restoring balance to the universe. But in doing so, you will leave behind the lives you once knew. Maya felt her heart race. She could feel the pull of the decision, the weight of the consequences pressing on her. She had never imagined that a moment like this would come. The thought of losing herself, of leaving behind everything she knew, was terrifying. But the fear of what the void would bring, the destruction it would cause, was even more frightening. Alex stepped forward, his voice firm. We can't turn back now. We've already come this far. We've seen what's at stake, and we can't walk away from that. We have to do this, for the future of both our worlds. Maya looked at him, her heart swelling with both fear and pride. She had always admired Alex's courage, his ability to act in the face of the unknown. And now, more than ever, she realized that they were in this together. No matter what lay ahead, they would face it side by side. Zorath looked at them, its eyes filled with approval. Your choice is wise, but know that the power you are about to receive will forever bind you to the fate of the universe. You will no longer be mere humans. You will become the guardians of life itself. Maya took a deep breath, steeling herself for what was to come. She reached out toward Alex, her hand finding his. Together, they stepped forward, ready to embrace the rebirth. The moment their hands touched the stone, a surge of energy shot through their bodies. It was like nothing they had ever experienced, an overwhelming force that seemed to stretch time and space. Their bodies tingled, their minds expanding, and the world around them blurred into a swirling vortex of light. They felt themselves being pulled into the very fabric of the universe, their consciousness merging with the life forces of the alien race and of their own planet. They could feel the energy of Earth's, the heartbeat of every living creature, the pulse of the trees, the rush of the oceans. They felt the ancient, quiet power of the stars themselves, but they also felt the void, cold, insidious presence lurking just beyond their reach. It was waiting, watching, ready to consume everything. Maya gasped as the connection deepened, and she could hear Alex's voice in her mind, strong and certain. We'll stop it, he said. Together, as the energy flooded their minds and bodies, Maya and Alex knew that this was the beginning of the end. They had made their choice, and there was no turning back. The final battle had begun. Maya and Alex have made their decision, accepting the immense power of the rebirth. But with that power comes an overwhelming responsibility. As they connect to the life force of the universe, they prepare to face the void of darkness that threatens to consume everything. The true challenge is just beginning. Rebirth or extinction. The moment Maya and Alex connected with the life force of the universe, the world around them seemed to shudder and break apart. The energy coursed through their veins like a wildfire, far beyond anything they had ever experienced. It felt as though they were being torn into a million pieces and then reassembled into something new, something vast, ancient, and all-encompassing. At that instant, they understood everything. The entire history of the alien race, the struggle against the void, the countless worlds that had fallen to its dark, insatiable hunger. They saw it all in flashes, like a cosmic tapestry unraveling before their eyes. The burden of their choice was made crystal clear, and with it, the connection to the very heartbeat of Earth itself. The power was overwhelming, but Maya could feel it grounding her. She was no longer just Maya, the librarian, or Alex, the mechanic. They were now part of something far larger, their bodies and minds forever linked to both the alien life force and the living energy of their home planet. Their bond to Earth was not just physical, it was spiritual, a deep, unshakable connection to every living thing on it. They could feel the pulse of the forests, the oceans, the wind, and the creatures that roamed the land. And then, the void, its presence, was no longer just a distant threat. It was right there, within them, like a shadow waiting to engulf everything. They had just become. Maya could feel it pushing against the connection, testing their resolve, trying to break the unity they had just forged. But they were no longer the same. They could feel the power coursing through them, the energy of the universe itself. They weren't just humans anymore, they were the protectors, the guardians of life. Together, Alex whispered in her mind, his voice steady despite the overwhelming force they were now connected to. "We stop it, we heal this wound." Maya felt his strength, his resolve. She could feel it intertwining with her own. In that moment, they were united, not just in purpose, but in power. The ground beneath them began to shake as the void's presence grew stronger, its darkness more suffocating. It was as though the very fabric of space was tearing apart, threatening to unravel the universe itself. The skies darkened, swirling with the ominous storm that had followed them since the beginning of this journey. But Maya and Alex held firm. They closed their eyes, and for a brief moment, everything fell silent. The universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the final action. Maya reached out in her mind, connecting with the energy that surrounded them. The connection to Earth, to every living thing, was now a part of her, and she could feel its power building, ready to unleash. With one final surge, Maya and Alex focused that energy directly at the void, pouring all their new strength into it. The darkness recoiled at first, as if it could not comprehend what they were doing. It lashed out with fury, but Maya and Alex stood their ground, stronger than they had ever been. The connection they shared was not one of destruction. They were not trying to fight the void with violence or force. Instead, they called upon the life force, the universal energy they had tapped into, to heal the rift the void had created. They reached deep into the darkness, not to battle it, but to transform it, to reintroduce balance and harmony where only chaos had reigned. And slowly, the void began to change. It twisted, its edges softening as the energy from Maya and Alex's connection began to fill the empty spaces, weaving light where there had once been only darkness. The tension in the air began to dissipate, and the storm clouds started to part. Maya's heart raced as she focused harder, pushing the energy further. Into the void, the darkness fought, but it was weakening. The more she concentrated, the more the void shrank, until, finally, it began to fade away completely. A wave of relief washed over her as the last remnants of the darkness vanished, leaving only light in its wake. The air was still once more, calm and filled with the soothing hum of life. The connection between her and Alex, and the connection to the alien race and Earth, had grown even stronger. They had healed the wound, but the battle wasn't truly over. Maya opened her eyes, feeling the weight of what they had just accomplished. The entire universe had shifted, and they were at the center of it. Their worlds, their people, their futures had been saved, but at a cost. The rebirth had transformed them, and they would never return to the lives they once knew. Alex turned to her, his eyes filled with understanding. We did it. We saved them. We saved everything. Maya nodded. Slowly, yes, but we're different now. We can never go back to what we were. And yet, somehow, that didn't feel like a loss. It felt like a new beginning as they stood there, surrounded by the peaceful energy they had created. Zorath approached them once again. Its alien eyes glowed with pride and gratitude. You have done the impossible. You have saved my people land. Yours. You have restored balance to the universe. Maya and Alex exchanged a final look, knowing that they had fulfilled their purpose. They had become the key to a new future where the void would no longer have the power to destroy. They had healed the rift, but they had also opened the door to something far greater. Together, they had embraced the rebirth. Together, they had become guardians of life itself, and as the stars above them began to shine brighter than ever before, Maya and Alex knew that their journey was far from over. They had stepped into a new chapter of the universe, a universe they would protect, forever bound by the energy of life itself. Maya and Alex's journey has come full circle, from ordinary humans to the saviors of not just an alien race, but the universe itself. The void has been defeated, but the cost has been high. They are no longer the same, but they have brought about a new beginning, one filled with hope, healing, and the understanding that true power lies in connection.